he's narcissistic, I disagree.
Okay.
That he's what?
That he's narcissistic, and I don't agree. I don't think he has narcissistic personality disorder.
I was going to ask about that specifically because when Kim experienced the robbery, one of the reasons that, and this is rumored, but one of the reasons that they started having problems after that was because he felt like she wasn't giving him enough attention as a result of her traumatic experience. That sounds pretty narcissistic to me.
No, it sounds like an a-hole to me. It sounds like.
What's the difference between an a-hole and a narcissism?
Somebody that has a personality disorder, again, they can't take any responsibility or have any bad press.
Sounds like Kanye.
No, on that Breakfast Club interview specifically, he said, I appreciate the criticism. He's like, I do.
So he takes it in.
Yeah, he takes it in. He's like, that album that I just dropped, I can't think of the name of it right now. He's like, it was whack.
He would be pissed.
He was like, it didn't have any hooks on it. Yeah, he was like, I make dope music. I didn't. And Charlamagne let him have it. And he was like, I appreciate that. And he said, I'm going to make sure that you hear the next album before I drop it and get your opinion.
Okay, we're going to come back with that because there's a couple more questions I have about that as well. So we'll be right back on the Live Exchange.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made. And not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. They caught me. Forget it. All right, let me get myself together here.
Off-air nutrition.
So, welcome back. And we are just talking about mental illness and celebrities and the public eye and all of that. And, you know, we can't talk about this without talking about Kanye because that is the whole reason why we decided to talk about this. And Bobby and I were asking Mikkel if, you know, first of all, how would we describe Mikkel? I mean, how we would describe Kanye? And whether or not there's an element of narcissism involved, because a lot of people pretty much say or assert that that's part of his problem is narcissism. And, you know, as a result of Kim being robbed and all of that recently, one of his biggest gripes was that she wasn't paying enough attention to him because, you know, after she got robbed. And that was one of the things that led him to have his breakdown and you know, go into the hospital for the period of time that he was there. So I have a hard time understanding how that's not narcissism. So Mikkel was starting to explain that. And
well, I will say this, that my understanding of the story when he got admitted to the hospital, it was his idea. Like, he was okay with going. Is that your understanding of it?
It's not, but I'm not totally surprised that that's the case.
Right. So he also canceled the rest of his tour, correct? Yeah, narcissistic personality disorder wouldn't do that.
They wouldn't do it even if it meant that they would gain more attention by going into the hospital?
He didn't need. Do you know how many millions of dollars he kind of just? All right, like that's not a trade.
Donald Trump doesn't need to either.
Let me tell you, Donald Trump will never divest from his companies, even though legally, because he got into the race. The law existed before he got into the race.
Right.
He's never going to divest from his companies.
Right.
That is more of a marker of a narcissistic personality disorder. You know the law, but you disregard it because you're above it. Right.
Well, that definitely, that's definitely been a characteristic.
And when you compare the two, and then when you look at the other attributes of Kanye's personality, what you're seeing is like him being grandiose and stuff like that. That's part of branding. That's part of, him. Like Jerry Jones, you just go out to the football field like he's the head coach. Man, you own the team. Isn't that enough? It's not. So when you look at different markers of narcissistic personality disorder, I'm not saying Jerry Jones is narcissistic personality disorder, by the way. I'm just saying that when you look at the markers,
hey, we just call them like we sing them.
I will tell you that narcissism again is a part of everyone's personality. At the end of the day, Kanye marches to his own drum. He's a creative person. There's a thin line between genius and insanity, and
that is
let me play on the other side of that for 2 seconds.
Are
you a Kanye fan?
Not too much.
Okay, I had to clarify that first.
Well, let me say this: his earlier work, I appreciated.
College Dropout, one of the greatest things.
Yeah, because he was more. He was. He was on that tip. But now things have changed, and so has my opinion of his music.
I got you. When you talked about him being on the previous radio show, I've seen him on another radio show where he displays everything you're talking about.
Right.
It wouldn't accept responsibility. It was everybody else's fault.
Right.
So how do you...
So the person that has a disorder is consistent.
Okay.
Again, not to belabor Donald Trump, he's consistent. So
it's not just episodes then?
It's not episodic.
Okay.
This is literally who they are. And so when you look at, if you look at borderline or like those type of personality disorders, that's who they are. Like that's pretty persistent throughout their existence.
Okay.
Some people are functional with it. Some people the volume's turned up really high, and it becomes dysfunctional.
Right.
And so that's the difference, and that's another difference between like mood and personality. Mood can be episodic, while if you look at the personality disorder, it's kind of who they are.
Right.
Schizophrenia, they have, it's kind of episodic in that they may not always see hallucinations, but they will always be schizophrenics. It's a crime. It literally is part of them. I have my cousin suffers from it, paranoid schizophrenia, and when he didn't have medication in him, every moment of his life was in that state. The medication is the only thing that kind of brings him out of it. So it is what it is. It's also one of the reasons why I kind of want to get into this line of work, because I was trying to understand what was going on with my family.
Gotcha.
Wow. All right, well, with that said, we're going to go into the balance challenge.
Keeping your balance with Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela.
All right, so this week's balance challenge is, it is holiday season, right? So we're bound to, in some cases, have family around and, look at other family situations and that kind of thing. And so what I want you to think about this holiday season is consider the personal struggle that somebody else may be having. We don't always like to think outside of ourselves. Sometimes we don't do it naturally. So I want you to be very intentional about looking at somebody else's experience. So if you've got that family member that everybody likes to say, oh, she just crazy. Or, people like to throw around terms like bipolar. Oh, she just bipolar. She just this, she just that. I urge you to look at it differently. I urge you to look at it from the standpoint of what is it like to be in that person's shoes, to be where that person may be or the things that person may have gone through. So this week's balance challenge is not necessarily to do something per se directly for yourself, but it is to look at somebody else's life and consider what it might be like to be like them or to go through what they're going through. And hopefully what that will do is challenge you to look at things differently, to approach them differently, and to be more of an ally for somebody who may need help rather than to stigmatize somebody who acts differently from the rest of us. So that's my challenge to you today. You have something to say? You got 30 seconds going to commercial. 10 seconds.
What?
Oh, you're going to say something.
He's trying to figure out who you're going to be balanced with this week.
Who are you going to balance with? But yes, we'll be right back.
Great leaders aren't born, they're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Vince Lombardi once said that it's hard to be aggressive when you're confused. Some of us think that taking our lives to the next level, both personally and professionally, is a confusing and complicated process. Guess what? It's not, and I can prove it. My book, Truisms, will show you how living your life by rules that are so self-evident and obvious, you'll say, I knew that. This powerful yet short, detailed bestseller is on sale right now, under $10. Go to michaelmcfadden.com. That's michaelmcfadden.com, and let Truisms help you to the next level.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda, that's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to Live Exchange. See, they be trying to talk during the break and they give everything away they're supposed to be talking about on the air. So we're going to try to recreate this conversation that you just saw lively happen.
Recreate. Reality TV.
We're going to do this again.
And action.
But I will say that well, y'all, if you look at me looking at my computer screen, it's all kind of messed up. So we're just going off the cuff today. So we don't know what's coming out. Rolling the dice. So we're talking about Kanye right now, and Mikkel brought out the 5 criteria. Well, it's more than. Oh no, it's the DSM-5 criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. And what they were doing during the break was matching up all those criteria against Kanye and determining whether or not they fit him. And Bobby is saying yes, 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 yes. Mikkel's saying no, 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 no. So this sounds like a song. So let's do this.
Well, I mean, so
and tell them what some of these.
All right, so really quickly, having an exaggerated sense of self-importance, expecting to be recognized as superior even without achievements that warrant it. I disagree with you on that one. Exaggerating your achievements and talents.
Oh my God.
I don't agree that fits him either. Being preoccupied with fantasies about success, power, brilliance, beauty, or the perfect mate.
You don't believe that's Kanye?
No, that's everybody. Who doesn't want?
We're all narcissistic personality
We
disorder?
all have narcissism in our systems, so that's what I'm saying. Be mindful of it. It has to be. It has to be a malady. It has to be an issue, right?
He created a wife.
I'm just saying she was. She existed before he did. Believing that you are superior and can only be understood by or associate with equally special people, requiring constant admiration, having a sense of entitlement, expecting special favors and unquestioning compliance with your expectations, taking advantage of others to get what you want, having an inability or unwillingness to recognize the needs and feelings of others, being envious of others and believing others envy you, behaving in an arrogant or haughty manner. Now, I will, I want you to be honest.
Okay.
A lot of that is confidence. On our resumes, we taught and promote and push how good we are at something in an effort to get something of value in return. That's all I'm reading.
So that's the marketing part of it. Like that's what you do to market yourself.
That's what you do to market.
So what's the difference between the marketing part of it and the disorder part of it?
So the disorder part of it is
Watch
for me,
Kanye. Watch this.
No, I'm saying what sticks out. What sticks out to me is that one of the features is that you take advantage of people. Now, I've never seen. Now, he lives in the public eye. I've never seen him take advantage of anybody. He's been taken advantage of.
By whom? By what?
Wow.
Well, it looks like Diamond has a comment about that they've been labeled. What does that say? That they've been labeled and live by the label?
That's kind of what I said in the earlier part. When you give people labels, they tend to live by it. But me having been in that industry, I understand what he's doing. And you're talking about going to people and saying, hey, man, cut me a check, 8-figure check. And they were like, well, why? Well, because I've done this, because of college stuff, because of this, because of that, and because of who I am. He's constantly selling himself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that is not unnatural. Where it gets disorder, to me, my concern for him is that Kanye never grieved the death of his mother.
I agree with that.
That's big.
All right, and that was a major trigger and a clear alteration of his path. Uh-huh. Now, that being untreated may have opened the door to other things getting in there, whether it be drugs or anything else. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I don't know that he fits that bill versus the other person that we were talking about. Like, that is an atypical narcissistic personality disorder, and everybody sees it.
The question I have on it, be it either of these characters, Trump or Kanye or Amy Winehouse.
It's hard for me to even say his name.
I noticed you haven't said his name yet.
Right. He is what he is.
A no name.
Yeah, right. I'm not schooled in this. I've never taken classes in it.
It's cool.
My wife has. That's a whole other thing.
Sure.
She follows the DSM-5 and all of that, but that ain't my thing. My thing is whenever I see things that are extremely out of balance, when there is no balance involved in a life, that's where the triggers begin to go up for me. And I don't see much of a difference balance-wise because Kanye is always on. He's always on. No different than a Trump is always on. So when I see these things that you diagnose or labeled in the DSM-5, when I see that as a constant, that's the term you used earlier. It is a constant thing.
Yeah, it's a feature. It's a major feature. Well, it's constantly what they put in front of you. Like, I don't live with Kanye.
This is true. I don't live with Trump. But you can make the same argument.
No, so what I will say is the difference is that for the last 18 months, every day of my life has had him in it.
Who, Trump?
Yeah.
That dude you on name?
Yeah.
The one who...
So I've had an opportunity to see him take advantage of people and their emotions to get what he wants and then turn around and call them violent. While during the campaign, he was like, my people aren't violent. Those are the Hillary people paid to come outside of my... But now...
So is that an element of delusion, or is that just, I'm just not going to acknowledge it on purpose?
It is delusional.
I'm not a Trump supporter by any means.
Well, no, I'm not suggesting you are.
No. However, I will say that there are those who would say, no, that was just excellent marketing.
Yeah. I would say that he was smart enough to take advantage of people.
And that's my question.
So personality disorder does not mean you're unintelligent.
Right. I agree. I don't think
quite frankly, the disorder takes advantage of your intelligence.
I think the more intelligent are more predisposed or more
I could agree with that.
I don't know about that part.
I think I could.
Because I've seen some pretty not so smart people do some really
that's probably true. You've probably seen more people than I have, obviously.
So,
but it just seems that the geniuses, I guess maybe it's because we assume that they wouldn't have it, and it's more surprising.
So let's give it this thought. If
Okay.
they're geniuses, is it that they have a higher level of thinking that we can't even process, and so we ostracize them because we don't understand what they're saying?
Therein lies the mirror.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not quick to say this person or that person, because if you look at Hollywood,
I was quick to say Trump was.
I was not. I never said his name.
Right.
I just said that you have
and
evidence
we
of
said it, so we gave it. We made an assumption. He may have not even been talking about Trump.
Look at Hollywood. They're full of people that suffer from bipolar disorder, depression, postpartum depression for some of the actresses. And they're from my European brothers and sisters, and they get treated, and they're successful in life. That's the part that I want to get to. Is like, at the end of the day, you can have success and still have
these issues.
Absolutely. And I do have a list of those celebrities that I'm going to pray my computer allows me to bring up. But if not, we'll just go by memory. We'll be right back. Are we right back? Are we right?
Love Notes with Dr. Pamela.
All right, so today's love note, I am going to just be very honest and paraphrase it because It's in my email, but it's not up right now. And
Technological difficulties.
technological difficulties, but it came from a young woman. I do remember the name, Vanessa, who was saying that she has a sister who truly needs help. I got it. I have a sister who truly needs help. She shows all of the signs of bipolar depression. And she says, I think these are the signs. Extreme highs and lows, struggle to keep a job, spontaneous risky behavior, spends every dime when she gets the money. The problem is that she is not at all open to the possibility that she may need help, but I and other family members see it clear as day. She shuns the whole topic of mental illness and gets offended when I try to go down that road of possibilities with her. Is there anything I can do?
Right. All eyes went
right.
Good grief. Yeah. So for bipolar disorder, again, everything is on a spectrum or on a continuum. So, based on the things that she put in the love note, I don't see how this is related to love.
Well,
she loves her sister.
She loves her sister. She wants to help her.
Yeah.
So the best thing for people that suffer from bipolar disorder or any disorder, they want to feel like they can be normalized. Is there anybody else in her family that has similar behaviors? And try to find a normalization through that. Also, you can, because family history, I'm gonna be honest with you, family history helps people accept their conditions.
But you know, when if that family member turns out to be crazy uncle, somebody that we just disregarded, couldn't that backfire?
So that's why I say you have to come in from a perspective of family history. So look at the behaviors from old crazy blah blah blah. He used to do that. You did that just the other day. He used to do that. You did that just the other day. If we felt like something was wrong with him, we don't live in the dark ages anymore. Like, let's go talk to your doctor. And if it's nothing, then I owe you an apology.
Would that work? I mean, if just based on what
I'm saying that you don't know if it's going to work. And these are literally, this is a shotgun effort.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if she doesn't see anything wrong with it, meaning her sister, it's going to be, you're going to be hard pressed. Typically, people that suffer from maladies that come see us have hit rock bottom. And I try to, part of me doing this is to help promote that this is not a taboo thing. Like, if you got these symptoms, please.
Just like diabetes or...
Just like diabetes, because most like alcoholism and addiction, when you get to an addiction level with these substances, that's a chronic condition. Like sobriety is the only way you could treat it, right? In terms of like you not having further consequences related to it. But people that abuse alcohol and substances don't have the chronic condition yet. So there's treatments that can help you get out of that pattern. Because that's all you bring before it becomes chronic. That's why I'm trying to make sure people are aware of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so deal with it head on. Don't
wait. The longer you wait, the worse it gets.
That's really good. And I don't know, and we have to go to break, but I don't know if, she said she thinks these are the signs. So I don't know that she even knows for sure if that's what it is.
Well, the highs, so typically your highs and lows, they tend to last, we say about 2 weeks high, 2 weeks low. And when they're high, they're like, I think I'm going to try to apply for a job at Coca-Cola as a CEO. I think they need some diversity, and I think they would appreciate a black woman, referencing her. Like, if she's out here making these types of statements, grandiose, and just off the meter, off the wall, like if she goes to the club and she's the baller, not you, and it lasts for a period of 2 weeks, we say, before she hits rock bottom again. Like, that can be evidence of it. Has she ever attempted suicide? That's a mark of bipolar disorder. Ever had thoughts of killing herself?
Okay. Well, we're going to have to go to break. We'll come back, and then we're going to talk a little bit more. What'd you say?
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Vince Lombardi once said that it's hard to be aggressive when you're confused. Some of us think that taking our lives to the next level, both personally and professionally, is a confusing and complicated process. Guess what? It's not, and I can prove it. My book, Truisms, will show you how living your life by rules that are so self-evident and obvious, you'll say, I knew that. This powerful yet short, detailed bestseller is on sale right now, under $10. Go to michaelmcfadden.com. truisms.com. That's michaelmcfadden.com, and let truisms help you to the next level.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over.
As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Sensation Station Network.
All right, welcome back to the live exchange. We are at the top of the second hour, and we are talking about mental health disorders as they pertain to celebrities, public figures, and how that really kind of, in turn, reflects us in our own lives in some ways. We expect these celebrities to perform and to, be the spotlight for us, and sometimes the very thing that draws us to them is the very thing that is their vice in their own personal life. So we're here talking about that, and we are just discussing a love note that we received from Vanessa, and she, just to reiterate that note, she says that she has a sister who truly needs help, and she kind of explains some of the signs that she thinks may lead or may point to her having bipolar depression: extreme highs and lows, struggles to keep a job, spontaneous risky behavior, spending every dime, and she's nervous about approaching her sister about it because she's very defensive and seems to think that she's going to not be receiving or receptive to the idea. So we were just discussing that, and I noticed that Diamond has also pointed out that his that sounds like his brother, and is also affirming what Mikkel said, which is be direct.
One of the things we were just talking about off air was how all of us kind of collectively assumed that this was a black person speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to ask about that in the history of mental health, or even just health in general, when it comes to the black people in the diaspora. We shun it like a mug, and maybe for just reason, because there is a history of things that have gone on when black people have dealt with the doctors from a physical standpoint or a mental standpoint that have taken us down some very dark and insidious roads.
Sure.
So how do we begin to get over those emotional, historical hurdles? Because I know you're an ambassador for this.
Yeah, I mean, me becoming a therapist, right, was part of that was trying to get rid of the stigma by putting a face and say, hey, I've gone into the wall and seen all of the secrets, and I'm going to come out and make sure that we only use the good stuff. You can trust my face type of deal.
Right.
At the end of the day, people have to own the fact that they are afraid of knowing what's wrong. And it's not just in mental health, it's in physical health. Like when you know something wrong, you just like, I ain't going to the doctor.
We talked about that with the HIV show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when you have those thoughts, there's nothing more freeing than leaning forward and going and finding out what's really going on with you, because at that point you can know how to address it. And it's in terms of our historical aspect of it. I mean, because I get it. I'm from Georgia. We used to have centralized mental health where they would come snatch you up out your seat and take you to Milledgeville.
Yeah.
And that's where you lived until they felt like either the rest of your life or until they felt like you got better. So that was one of the taboo things in the South, is that not only did you have the vagrants laws, you also had, if they thought you were crazy, we'd come snatch you up too.
Yeah.
And they did that. And as such, we started keeping family secrets. We stopped talking about it out front. Hey, you don't talk about that around now, you know.
Right.
You know, but you know what's going on. You know, that type of deal. And I'm telling you, that's a going out of business strategy. I mean, we're resilient people, but at the end of the day, we can have a better quality of life. But you have to be assertive. You have to want it and take steps to get there.
I like that, going out of business strategy. That's. Yeah.
What do you do when the solution that has always been there for you, family line down, is just give it to Jesus?
He went there.
I mean,
I love it.
So just like and it's not. I'm not saying it is the same. So before you start getting nasty emails, I will say that
he said it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Earlier we referenced drugs and alcohol and stuff like that as a coping mechanism or a tactic.
Right.
Well, religion has become that as well. Religion is a coping tactic to deal with the stresses that our community has faced, and we're so committed to it that we even have a level of cognitive dissonance as it relates to what's right and what's wrong versus staying true to your faith.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, that strategy still works for some because it is a personal strategy, right? But I will, submit to you that, not everybody can go. Right. So whatever.
To Jesus or to church?
Or to whatever our next leg in life is.
Got it.
I mean, if you rely on one coping strategy in this life, you're not going to survive.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think that in tandem with other things. I mean, spirituality is great, and going to Jesus, I'm all about that. But you got to do some other things too. Jesus gives us tools.
Right. Faith without works is dead. Even though it's not in the Bible, it's a famous cliche statement, but it's true. It's like you can put faith in God that He's going to guide you, which means that you're about to do some work. He's going to guide you through the work. So if I appear before you and you suffer from depression, yes, God is healing you because He brought you to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm stuck on faith without works are not dead, not in the Bible, because I
figured you heard that.
I've seen that in the Bible. But there are some things that
have you seen it specifically said that way or paraphrased that way?
Yeah, I have. But we're going to look it up. We'll be right back.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Green light. Hey, girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them.
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over.
As your neighbor, I'll feel safer.
As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm place on a cold day. I want to be a football stadium. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Primary election.
Lack of diversity.
Gas prices.
Michael Jackson. Trending topics.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. Okay, so one thing that's trending is Donald Trump and Kanye met. Oh, it was trending a week ago. I get that I'm late on that. But I wanted to talk about that anyway because I think that that's very interesting. And when they came out after their conversation, everybody's like, what'd you guys talk about? What'd you guys talk about? And they said, well, we talked about life. And, and there were some jokes going around Facebook about, lots of jokes going around Facebook, but and so I don't know what's your take on this, and why would the president elect? Oh God, just meet up with a Kanye West? What's up with that? Why would a Kanye meet up?
I'm not going to assume that that's their first time ever meeting one another.
I don't think so either.
I will say that one person I feel like they fit a certain disorder. And the
He
other
won't
person,
say
I
his name.
think, and I think Kanye suffers from some other maladies that kind of confound one another. Like he may have a few things going on at once. But for me to come up with a question as to, I think Kanye is he's promoting himself, so he takes meetings with he tries to take meetings with whoever's running something to tell them that I can help you in this area where you struggle. And if I get a certain amount of money, I'll make sure the message gets out that you're okay.
So who initiated the meeting?
You asking?
Do we know?
We don't know. We'll probably never
Karen
know.
Connolly would know that.
But I would almost guarantee that if some black jackets and shaded guys walked in this room right now and said, "Hey, President-elect wants to meet with you," most of us would go.
I would.
Most of us. I'm
glad you said most.
I don't do absolutes.
I don't know. I mean,
I have 0.
If he wanted me to interview him on this show, I've
yeah, that's a tricky one, ain't it?
I don't know.
I choose what toxicity I bring in my life.
I respect that wholeheartedly. That's probably a toxicity I would do without myself. Yeah. But but I could understand. I'm not going to throw Kanye or Jim Brown or Ray Lewis or anybody under the bus about that. From a mental health standpoint, I actually question the mental health of us as a community when we allow something like that to seep into our community. When he says, "Oh, I'm bringing in these 3 people to talk about economic development," you don't bring in Jerry Seinfeld to talk about technology. So that was actually a slap in the face to me.
Well, yeah, because every black man is every black man.
Right. Exactly.
So no
Are
matter
you referencing Carson being selected as the health? So for those of you who don't know, Ben Carson was selected as the person who for the housing
and urban development,
and he's a brain surgeon.
Right.
But he's black.
Right.
And stated that he didn't feel like he had enough experience to run a state agency, even though he ran for president.
Right. And he actually never lived in a housing project. Which is why they said they selected him for HUD. So yeah, when we see things like that, it becomes and when we accept it, when we go, "Oh yeah, Ray Lewis, yeah, economic development," that makes absolutely no sense.
I wouldn't even say that we've accepted it. I think we've become apathetic to it because there's really no outcry. There's nothing. It's just silence with regards to this man being selected. And so I wouldn't even say people are embracing it like, yes, Ben Carson is our guy. There's just silence.
Well, if you look at his cabinet, everybody is beneath his education level, except for Ben Carson.
What kind of education level does he have?
He has a master's. But I will say that everyone else is bachelors. And Ben Carson is the only doctor on his staff, and he put him in the most inept place for a doctor to be at versus Surgeon General. So he's still the authority because I build hotels and homes. I'm the real estate authority, so Ben, do what I say.
Right.
Type of deal. Like, again, another marker for
Ben is like, let me stop.
Oh, wow.
Let me stop. I didn't. Did I?
You did jig.
No,
they got it on video.
You did the jig. You did.
Shuffle.
I mean, it is what it is. Now, if I was asked to interview him, oh no, I would get frustrated.
I would go to sleep.
I would get frustrated. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, wake up. Wake up.
What are you excited about, man?
I don't know. Talk to him about his wife. You might get excited about that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, stop. I'm not going there. I'm not, because I was going to go there, but I'm not. So we're going to look at
you know you want to.
The celebrities. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Good for you.
Because we are all
entitled to
and I respect folks. So, well, there's 27 celebrities. There are celebrities who do suffer from different forms of mental illness, and I'll just tell you some of them. One of which is Demi Lovato, and she's been quite open about her struggle with bipolar disorder, cutting, and bulimia. She says, quote, "I never found out until I went into treatment that I was bipolar." So she possibly went in for treatment for bulimia.
Or cutting.
And then found out.
Russell, what's his name? The English comedian? Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
He suffered from bulimia. It's typically a condition that females suffer from, body image issues.
Right.
But he suffered from that as well as alcohol and addiction. And he talks about that a whole lot because he's trying to normalize it. I already mentioned Paula Deen with agoraphobia. I'm trying to think who else.
I have a whole list of 27 here.
Go.
We got Leonardo DiCaprio, and he suffers from OCD, which he drew upon while playing Howard Hughes in The Aviator. So this is an example of how he used it, to his benefit, because he was able to draw upon his own experience. We also have I don't know,
Lena Dunham.
Lena Dunham.
Isn't that the Girls TV show? Yeah,
exactly.
On HBO, she's a writer, producer, actress of a series on HBO called Girls.
Yeah.
Okay. And she suffers from obsessive compulsive disorder, depression, and anxiety, and incorporated her OCD into her character in the movie. She was medicated for her conditions and told fans on Instagram that exercise helps immensely. I believe that.
It is true.
Yeah.
I would.
Robin Williams,
That was unfortunate.
Yes, passed away in 2014. He suffered from depression, paranoia, and anxiety, and tragically took his own life. And it's interesting because it was something that people close to him said he actively struggled with for quite a while, and which is ironic because, again, in our own naive, removed perspectives, we think he's funny. He's got the greatest life. He's, how can somebody that funny not be?
A lot of comedians suffer from disorders. Look at what happened with Martin.
Yeah.
So what I will tell you, if you notice on the list that a lot of the people on there are not black.
I was going to
Well, I'm only on number 4, but we can keep going.
Money says you're not going to see anybody. Yep.
Right.
Nope.
When I checked it out, all I saw was Halle Berry, and that was when she considered suicide when David Justice and her broke up.
And do we not always, and Halle Berry is one of the people that I hear a lot of fellows make fun of. Oh, she's, she must be crazy. She can't keep a man. We hear that about Halle Berry. At least I've heard that about Halle Berry. And it's again, something where we are stigmatizing it and not really looking at it from the standpoint of maybe she needs help, But anyway,
Justin Bieber.
We'll be right back.
Hey, Teddy, why is investing important?
Most people have goals that they're trying to reach in life that has something to do with growing their assets. That's a problem that we have in our community because we don't take enough risk to actually grow our assets to meet our expectations.
So how does Parish Capital help me?
I see myself as a world-class investor. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm here to bring a transparent, low-fee strategy so people understand what they're getting into when they invest. $1 today is not worth the same as $1 tomorrow. You can go to my website at parishcapital.com or call us at 800-618-1940.
Invest your money.
Ignore the noise, stay focused, and prosperity be unto you.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day. I want to be a football stadium. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch, or enough time to mix vegetables. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
Green light. Hey girl. School zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
In the interest of science.
All right, welcome back. Sometimes you look and act and behave, just like everybody else, sometimes even better than other people in many cases. And so it's not something that's out there and obvious. But according So an article by David Wolf, he says high-functioning depression is far more concerning to psychiatrists than any other type. And this is because psychiatrists observe more high-functioning depressives with seemingly, quote, perfect lives that commit suicide than those whose battles are more obvious. And I would just guess that this may be related to the fact that folks are less inclined to want that to show or are more willing to commit suicide because people see me a certain way and I can't let that change. I can't let that, be different. I don't know. That makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Seeing that chink in the armor shows weakness. And a lot of these business guys, this has allowed me to get to this level in life, to that level in life, to do this. And I can't show any signs of that weakness. And when I do, it's all going to fall apart.
And it does,
Yeah.
and I happen to know an individual who is very, very successful, doing very well. And because I know her personally, very clearly dealing with some serious depression issues and didn't, kept it under wraps, did, really good job of seeming like she's, moving and shaking at work. Yeah. And one day, all it took was some episode while she was driving to work that by the time she got to work, she had a complete meltdown and was totally ashamed about it. And
yeah, so the strategy is called stuffing.
Stuffing.
Yeah, stuffing the issues. So what I will tell you that I find is common with high-functioning depressed people is that they have a dark outlook on society. They're like, there's people that are cynics, and then there's people that are just
fatalists.
And fatalist, great word. And what I found is that they function high, they perform at a high level, so that they can kind of set themselves apart from how they see the rest of the world. But when they realize I'm no different than their perception of the world, that's too. We could do it, and they buy into this merit-based system that doesn't exist. And when it fails them, they feel like they've conversation, loss of enjoying things that they may at one time, they enjoy, but they still been able to go to work and do everything they need to do. So it must not be a big deal. They just lost interest. So you tend to miss the signs of the breakdown or of the leak, if you will, before the dam actually breaks.
So do they know? So then they don't necessarily know then that they are experiencing this.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, one of the biggest things that I try to bring to the table is self-awareness is something that we call mindfulness. And we do this exercise called the mindful body scan. It's a mind, and there's mindful eating. There's just things that kind of bring you present. Even in anger, like one of the techniques that I use is know your age in anger. So say, for instance, I got angry with you and I'm about to just let you have it. If you're mindful, you're able to say, you know what, I'm 13 right now. I'm a 45-year-old man acting like, all right, so now, and then you count yourself back up to 45, my age, and at that point, you're going to handle it differently. At that point, you've captured the emotion, you've recognized it, you've owned it, and you've been able to quell it down so that you can start using your mind.
Okay.
And so when we're talking about overwhelming emotion, we're taking all intelligence out of it. Like, it's just going to make sense why I'm crying. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Type of deal. And that's the part that's important, is that you have to get out of the emotion piece of it so that you can deal with the logical aspects of it.
One of my favorite statements and I teach this to my children from the moment they can conceive it, that emotions make very good slaves but very poor masters. And that's what he was just talking about. It's not that you discount emotions. Right. And I don't think that's what you were saying at all. But that we do have to understand that I am in control of them. They are not in control of me. Right. If I'm mad, I'm mad. Okay, I acknowledge that and I move forward in that. Right. And to keep that going. But when you allow that thing to flip on you, it's a dangerous road.
It's the reaction. And to be honest with you, there are a lot of adults that lack. Ask yourself, am I mature? Right. What do I'm doing in my life right now? There are a few areas that define emotional maturity, and I employ that the audience go out, Google it. There's information out there, and do a checks and balance. Do I act like that when I get at?
That's interesting.
And
and I have to say that the last time was just recently, because I was dealing with somebody who was very angry and was acting like they were 2 years old, and it made me rise even higher. Like, okay, I'm not
right, because it was shocking to you.
And so it made me say, you know what?
It shows you out of your emotions.
I'm not going down that road with you. I'm not going to timeout. We're not during tantrums. You can throw your tantrum by yourself. But it did make me really think about how do I want to respond to this? At what maturity level do I want to be at when I respond to this?
Right.
So anyway, we got to go to break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Teddy, why is investing important?
Most people have goals that they're trying to reach in life that has something to do with growing their assets. That's a problem that we have in our community because we don't take enough risk to actually grow our assets to meet our expectations.
So how does Parish Capital help me?
I see myself as a world-class investor. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm here to bring a transparent, low-fee strategy so people understand what they're getting into when they invest. $1 today is not worth the same as $1 tomorrow. You can go to my website at parishcapital.com or call us at 800-618-1940.
Invest your money.
Ignore the noise, stay focused, and prosperity be unto you.
I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You've accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you, A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kinda love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Now we come to the special feature of our program.
Sensation Station Network.
I'm standing up and I'm telling you, I am Warhol. I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google. Now, who's going to be the Medici family and stand up and let me create more? Or do you want to marginalize me till I'm out of my moment?
Or why don't you empower yourself and don't need them and do it yourself?
How, Sway?
Take a few steps back. To go
you ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway.
Kanye.
I've been doing this more than you.
That is our Kanye West and Sway interview. That not ours, but you know.
Right.
I mean, like as a community, you know. But yeah, that's. What do y'all think?
Accepting no responsibility.
I think that was good radio.
We got like
we dial in for that.
Yeah.
This man got memes floating across the internet that say Houseway.
Yeah.
Like, it's notoriously famous.
There is
worked.
The adage of the only good publicity is no publicity. And he
only
hits
bad
one.
publicity.
The only bad publicity is no
publicity.
That's right. But the issue is at what cost? And we've seen it.
But at what gain?
Well,
opportunity cost is one thing, but he gains.
It certainly is. But if you look at the pattern, and when we talk about these brain patterns, and you look at the historic pattern of all of these entertainers and artists and musicians, celebrities, sports figures that have gone down this road of self-grandizement, it leads down a dark path for 98% of them. There are those who are exceptions to the rule, who make it through.
Right.
But for the most part, you can look at the Terrell Owens of the world who deal and suffer. You can look at the Kanyes that are going. Yeah, they gain financially.
And that's all it's about.
But they're losing so much emotionally.
So let's keep in mind that we're talking about somebody that was emotionally tied to someone that his success technically killed. Go through.
Hear what you just said. Hold on. pause that.
Pause.
That his success, in essence, killed
his emotion.
Right, but
it killed the person that
was,
he learned how to be empathetic from. It killed the person that he learned how to connect emotionally with humans.
And knowing that, he continues to pursue more.
Does he know that?
What we also mentioned is neuroplasticity, how your brain can be molded,
right,
and that have addiction. So here's somebody that's a medical doctor that understands the human body, that understands the brain, understands how drugs affect the body, and they still inject these substances that get a high.
Yeah.
So that addiction is using this person's intelligence to hide the missing medication, to hide that they're actually taking it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to Kanye. Yes, his success gave a window, an opportunity for his mother to get plastic surgery that killed her.
Right.
Is he going to say, therefore I don't want to be successful anymore, or is he just going to dive into the only thing he knows at this point that he's emotionally connected to?
No, what he's going to do is never accept the responsibility for that.
I
which
think
is a classic narcissistic characteristic.
No, I think he did, and that's the part that's caused the emotional tear that I'm talking about. Like, it's not everybody's narcissistic.
Right.
Is it a disorder? Is another conversation, and there are elements to his speak where he talks about he hasn't reached the pinnacle. A person that is narcissistic is the pinnacle. Like he talks about he's Warhol. He's referring to other people that he equates his talent to versus whether he can grow more. He admitted that he needed growth in certain areas. A person that is narcissistic would never do that.
But one of the things.
So that's why I'm saying, like, we have to be mindful of the fact that everyone has narcissistic traits.
Right.
He's also in an industry that promotes and reinforces that behavior. Third.
But one of the characteristics you stated was when you have a self-aggrandizement that you haven't earned. When you start calling yourself Warhol and people of that nature, they never claimed that for themselves. Warhol never called himself a genius. He just was. He was.
I don't know that. I ain't know the man.
I'm from historic reading. That's all I'm saying is that people placed him in a genius category,
right?
And that's how it happens. But when you begin to place yourself there, that doesn't lead you to believe that this is narcissistic quality.
No, I'm saying that you got to understand that narcissism is a part of your personality.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
what that
disordered.
means, right? So the disorder component is where it causes maladies in his life. He
ain't got maladies.
Not caused by narcissism. You understand? This man went on stage, took the microphone for somebody, and said that Beyonce should have won.
Mm-hmm.
All right, he didn't suffer from that. His sales went through the roof. Reinforcement, positive reinforcement. So again, he's being that enforcement is what carries this to the next episode.
And you don't think that Trump being reinforced by people voting for him, and that's not a reinforcement for him?
Listen, this man lost by 3 million votes,
and he won the electoral.
Wait.
What's the difference between his reinforcement versus Kanye?
So he lost by 3 million popular votes. You know what he said? Well, if you chopped off California and what was the other one? Florida. No, he got Florida. It was 2 states. Yeah, if you chop them off, I would have won. I won the popular vote.
New York and California.
Just get rid of those two.
That's a totally different conversation. That's a totally different. That's an insane. You're gonna chop off a state? Really? Ain't nobody saying that.
No, and Kanye made some pretty insane statements too.
Let me tell you something. Let's be clear. Kanye said, he says, I'm the most relevant rapper. You know who he gives props to all the time? Hold on.
I can listen to that.
Hold on. I'm talking about the interview I saw the other day. Okay. Let's be clear. He's not lying. So if you look at airplay, if you look at the production, if you look at where he's appeared,
that's all marketing.
Hold on. That's what I've been talking about. He gave props to Drake. He's like, this is Drake's time right now, right? A narcissist will never bow down. The person that suffers from personality disorder, they don't bow down.
So I have a question. I hear you saying that he's not narcissistic. What do you say is? What would you say that he may be? You can't say is because we don't know. But what could be something? What could be another possibility if because you're emphatically saying no, it's not narcissism. What?
I mean, honestly, he suffers from the fact his work environment promotes behavior that adds tremendous pressure on you. So he may be suffering from emotional breakdowns, depression, depression.
Definitely depression. I can see that.
I mean, like, for real. Maybe he has bipolar disorder. I don't know. I mean, but in terms of what I think, and it really is subjective at this point.
I got you.
What I think narcissistic personality disorder is, he doesn't map 1-to-1 enough for me to be comfortable to say that this man suffers from that, because prior to him being Kanye, he was just Ye from around the way. Like
I mean, I can accept that maybe it's not that, but I cannot accept that it's nothing. I mean, there's something, and
well, we all have something.
Well,
let me normalize it for everybody. 100%.
Well, we all have something, but we don't all have something to that extreme.
Right. We 100% have something to some extreme. There's something that you uniquely do.
Yeah.
That you eat those multigrain rice crackers. Uniquely do that I will never do. Do I think you crazy?
And I can't. And I don't want to. I don't want to. And I'm not going to dispute it, or because I do want this to be normalized. I do want us to be able to come to a place where we can normalize these things. Mm-hmm. Though I'm probably one of the only people who do not have any issue whatsoever.
And that in itself. That in itself.
But in all seriousness, no. I can respect that. Because and it affects different things affect different people in different ways. When you're in the spotlight, I can't even imagine what it must be like to be in the spotlight the way that Kanye is, and have to deal with whatever stuff that he has to deal with without the support. Because I don't see a strong support network that he has.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I think an indicator of people around him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But keep in mind that if Kanye were not the Kanye we knew in these interviews, he wouldn't be getting called to be interviewed.
No, that's the very thing that draws us to him.
Right.
And as I said in the intro, we love to hate them, we love to love them, we love to hate him for that very reason.
Dave Chappelle on the Actors Guild did a very interesting conversation about mental illness in Hollywood. Yeah. And made it very clear. If you ever get a chance, go back and watch that clip. But he talks about don't call these people crazy. What happened with Martin Lawrence? He said these are very strong people. He said we have to take a look and see what environment are they in that's causing all of these people to go down this road.
Right? Yeah.
And when you said that we all suffer from something, we all deal with something. That's a scary thought. I think it's an accurate thought.
Right.
But you have to ask, what environment do we exist in that all of us are dealing with something? So none of us, if we believe in the Creator or what have you, none of us were built perfect. We were all going to be built flawed, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's a very interesting concept. Or is the environment that is triggering these things?
Well, I will tell you that being built flawed is in itself a form of perfection, which means if we're on the evolutionary track, we're getting better, or we should be getting better every generation.
Okay.
No regression. Like we now have regressed.
Right.
Socially we've regressed.
Yes, absolutely.
But in terms of our awareness, self-awareness, self-actualization, those things happen every generation. Like my children are 4 years old and they've had tablets since they were 2 and know what apps are. I mean, like generation. A whole nother level.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the process. If you embrace the beauty of the process of development, then I don't see it as a flaw. I just see it as, figuring out the next piece.
This is life.
It's life.
Well, and with that said, we're going to go right into the balance challenge.
Your balance. Nice segue.
Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela.
All right. So today's balance challenge is, and I think this is an enlightening conversation. And I think one of the things that Mikkel just pointed out was that we all have something. We all deal with something. And as much as I want to resist or have the urge to say not me, we all got something.
Right.
So it's one of the challenge that I issue today is for you again. We're going to be around family. We're going to and sometimes that's a happy thing, and sometimes it's tense. Depending on what our family makeup is. Well, there's always that person in the family, or those people in the family who are a little different, who may exhibit some behaviors that are not cool. And I challenge you to try to see things from their perspective this time. And we like to whisper in the corners about, she's doing such and such and he's doing such and such. But this year, I want you to not do that. I want you to consider what it's like to be in such and such's shoes and what they're, because we don't know. The majority of us are not trained to diagnose or to really understand what's going on in somebody's life. But what we can do is we can show compassion, and we can try to step outside of our own heads and think about what somebody else's experience may be like. And what that does is it challenges us to also see our own flaws, our own challenges, and to be a bit more caring for others who may be struggling through their own. So my challenge for you is we're not going to be petty this Christmas. When they go low, you go high. So this challenge is when they go low, I want you to go high.
I want to make a song, Petty Christmas.
It'll sell.
We'll be right back.
Let Kanye do the track.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm place on a cold day. Football stadium. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
This is big business. This is the American way.
Sensation Station Network.
See ya.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. We can't say that on the air, Mikkel.
We went on.
No, we weren't.
Why is it not?
All right, so on the list of 27. Bobby's, I had 27 celebrities listed that suffer from mental illness. He lost the bet. He said he bet there's nobody black on the list, and that's primarily because we don't address it as a community, not because we don't have issues. But there are two.
But that was the point. Like, we don't really address it.
We don't address it, and but the two that are listed, one is Janet Jackson. And she fell into a deep depression following the release of her 6th studio album, The Velvet Rope. I was actually a DJ when that album came out, Ebony Love. And she she also dealt with the issues of body dysmorphia and self-harm. What is body dysmorphia?
So that's basically a body image issue. So people that suffer from anorexia, bulimia, in that family. So it's basically she saw fat when we saw fine. Mm-hmm. And it goes both ways. Some people, they see skinny when they're not. Right. It goes both ways. It's basically just a twisted view of your body.
Right. Okay.
So people that obsessively diet, and we are looking at them like, but your size, for women, you're size 0, or for a grown man, you're size 30 in the waist, and you 6'2".
Right.
Yeah, that's not healthy, man. What's going on? And that's where you have those disorders. So it's something that, and she's in an industry that fuels that anxiety. So.
And I bet that is a pretty rampant condition in that industry, big time. And then Halle Berry is the second one who's listed. And wow, nice dress, Halle. She suffered from postpartum depression and admitted to attempting suicide following her divorce from David Justice. Yeah.
She literally sat in the car, and when I read her the interview, she said that what made her stop was that her mother was going to be the person that found her, based on the
where
comings
she
and
was.
going. Based on the comings and going.
Well, it says she actually attempted to. So, I
That's
mean,
what
there's
I'm
no
talking about.
details
that
about
attempt.
what she did. You know,
She was in the car in the garage with the engine running. She was going to die from carbon monoxide poison.
Got it. Okay.
And the only thing that stopped her was the fact that she realized that her mother would find her body.
Wow. And that was a pretty traumatic marriage, from my understanding. And one of the things that we haven't mentioned is post-traumatic stress disorder, and that's something. And it's also known as post-traumatic stress syndrome. Is it syndrome?
PTSS. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and I wonder if that. This is my understanding, is that it tends to be a trigger for other illnesses that come down the line, a traumatic event.
Well, I mean, so trauma is subjective, meaning that, for example, a child that changes schools 6 or 7 times is traumatic to the child.
Right.
And we don't see it as adults because we're just moving, you know. But it sets the child back, I think, 6 months of everything they learn kind of gets wiped away because they're focused on their new social environment.
Right.
That traumatic events create certain coping mechanisms that may lead down the path of choosing the wrong crowd to hang out because they want to belong. Then they start using drugs, and that stops some of the brain development, emotional brain development that we need to have happen by the age of 25. Their behavior is exacerbated by the fact that they lack attention, which goes down the ADHD path. I mean, it creates a myriad of conditions, and there's always what we call comorbidity. There's always something overlaying something. If you, not every depressed person uses alcohol. Not every alcoholic is depressed.
Right.
But the two do seem to coexist. Someone's depressed is more apt to have use of alcohol, while someone that drinks tends to be a little bit depressed. I mean, alcohol is a depressant.
And it leads to a series of different decisions that
create patterns in their lives that they tend to hold and cling to because that's what kept them alive.
Okay.
The issue is that we are always in a constant state of survival. My job is to help you get to a state of living. That's above surviving, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So,
well, this leads to my PTSS, which is the one I always concentrate on, is the post-traumatic slave syndrome, which is, you know, us being people of the diaspora, and genetically now that science is saying things are being passed down to us emotionally, mentally. So when you say that we all suffer from something, absolutely, because we've never dealt fully with that trauma on whatever level that may be.
And how do you respond to the person, because I'm sure you've heard this before, that I was never a slave.
Right.
That's not my issue.
Right.
How do you address that?
Personally, we're talking societal, communal, emotional, in the same way that you were talking earlier, Doc, about, hey, you remember Uncle such and such? Well, you did this. You remember such and such? You did. You can point out these things that you're going down the same roads that we've all gone down. You wonder why you have these outbursts. You wonder why when you outburst at your son, but you're very quiet amongst your boss, you know, you're wondering why these things are happening.
Interesting.
This is the same kind of dynamic that's going on. Right. Take a look at it, and now let's deal with it. Let's talk about it, and let's move forward from that point.
The safest, or the most shocking thing, I should say, not safest, thing is that emotional and mental health issues are contagious.
That is shocking. That is,
That's
you
big.
say shocking is a good word for that.
Yeah, and so what that means is that if a person exists in a certain environment, they will adopt the same features of that environment in order to survive.
I honestly just heard what you said.
Right.
You didn't say mental illness was contagious. You said mental health. And that was the difference. Because at first, my subconscious heard mental illness is contagious.
No, that's what I heard too.
Right.
But does it go both ways?
It does. Because if you're in a good environment,
you're going to have...
that makes a world of difference how you said that.
So,
and I think it's important for us to understand, for those of you listening, the difference between mental health and mental illness. You know, mental health is, it's kind of the...
Well, mental health is
basis,
that's just the premise. That's my degree.
Right.
So when we talk about maladies, illnesses, I'm talking about... So, for instance, if I'm suffering from general anxiety disorder, right, I can pass that on to you, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
By my behavior being so outrageous. And if I'm in a power position of your life, you want to survive and get to the next day. So you're going to adopt the same mental style that will either go in concert with or not contradict me for fear of. So if you're in a social environment where the person that's the power person is overly aggressive, anger, and the feature of anger, or at least the root of anger, is anxiety, right?
Okay.
If I know if I step on your shoe, I know you may shoot me. What's gonna happen the other way around? Like, because
Right.
I'm anticipating you to react a certain way, so I'm going to act in a way that's going to protect my life.
Right.
And people may perceive me being just as insane as you're perceived.
Right.
And so that's what I'm talking about. It's like we can pick up these disorders if we're not careful. And that's why I always tell people, choose your friends carefully.
Yeah. Right.
Because they can affect what you do emotionally in terms of family. Like if you have a circle of friends that are just negative about being in a relationship, and we know that human existence relies on relationship, that means you're going to adopt, because you want to belong, their mentality, which there creates a malady, and you won't continue. You got to talk. We're talking about behaviors that are consistent with survival.
Right.
So, and I want to emphasize that you're talking about behaviors and not conditions. So you're not saying, well, you stay away from anybody who's got bipolar disorder or who's schizophrenic, or you're talking about the behaviors and how that's being managed, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about all of it actually, because if you think about it, if you are a child in a house with alcoholics and people that suffer from bipolar disorder or any other type of malady, what is that child going to do?
Right.
They're going to adopt their parents or their guardians' coping mechanisms. They're going to adopt certain attributes to their personality.
That's normalized.
Because because you're trying to stay out of it. If you're a child, an alcoholic, and he's angry or she's an angry alcoholic, you're going to be a very quiet child.
But what I'm saying is, is that there are people who are alcoholic or are bipolar, but they are managing it well and they're living positively productive lives. And so it's not necessarily the condition that we want to stray away from, but it's how they're living. It's
how you're living.
Behavior.
Yeah, your behaviors.
Yeah.
Behaviors can drive thoughts. Thoughts can drive behaviors. It's the root, wherever the root is.
Right. Because if there's people all around us who have these things, we can't say, well, no, she's, and I would love to talk about relationships. We'll have like 1 minute when we come back.
Give you one example. How does it feel to be black people in America? And what attitudes have we adopted to survive here?
PTSS. Here we go.
Interesting.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I hear you. All right, we're going to come right back.
Great leaders aren't born, they're made. And not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey, Teddy, why is investing important?
Most people have goals that they're trying to reach in life that has something to do with growing their assets. That's a problem that we have in our community because we don't take enough risk to actually grow our assets to meet our expectations.
So how does Parish Capital help me?
I see myself as a world-class investor. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm here to bring a transparent, low-fee strategy so people understand what they're getting into when they invest. $1 today is not worth the same as $1 tomorrow. You can go to my website at parishcapital.com or call us at 800-618-1940.
Invest your money.
Ignore the noise, stay focused, and prosperity be unto you.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela. We've got like 2 minutes maybe. And I really wanted to delve into relationships with people who have mental illnesses, or, I feel so wrong or politically incorrect saying that for some reason, but I don't know.
It is what it is.
But we have parents and loved ones, and I have to say that I've been in a relationship where, in hindsight, I'm like, oh my God, this is what he had, and of course I guess I got to look at what I may have had too, but
yes. But the first accurate thing stop
it.
Honest.
But it's interesting because we don't, sometimes when we're in the throes of it, we don't think about these things, and so I'm hoping that by through this show that we can help people kind of realize and see what may be sitting in front of them, what they may be sleeping with, without even realizing it. And
well, you made it really ominous right there. What you may be sleeping with.
Hey.
Yeah, what kind of conditions
sleeping with the enemy.
What kind of conditions are? Well, it's not the person I'm talking about. It's the characteristics and the behavior. So, what kind of conditions are in the bed with y'all?
Are they healthy or unhealthy relationships?
Right.
And healthy means that it's an assertive conversation. Healthy means that it's an honest conversation. Healthy means that there's understanding, there's empathy. Mm-hmm. Healthy is just, do you feel like the relationship, that you get something from it? Not from a selfish way, but at the same, do you feel like you're growing?
Are you being fed?
Right, are you being fed? Versus unhealthy. Unhealthy, literally the opposite.
I think
you're starving. You're
it's important, too, that everybody's healthy doesn't look the same, and that's okay. My healthy may not look like your healthy, but that's all right. I don't want people to get in the box of, well, if I don't look like Doc's look, then it must not be healthy. No,
no, it is very subjective. But at the same time, it's important to understand that I think across the board, unhealthy is you're starving versus you're being fed, or
you're not communicating versus communicating.
I mean, there's some general parameters to look at,
right?
And so that's really important to consider. And I don't by any means want to stigmatize anybody who does have any of these disorders, because there are a lot of people living very well, productive, healthy lives who have these disorders. So it's not the person, it's not the disorder, it's the behavior and how they're coping and how they're living.
And the people that are successful with these disorders are being treated.
Yes.
Let's be clear,
treated.
They're actively treated.
Yeah.
Meaning that you can have a balanced homeostasis life, which is in science the biggest deal for human existence is balance. That's homeostasis.
There's the word again.
And so you can have that life if you get treatment.
Right.
You can actually look at what's going on in your life. If you don't like what you see, take steps.
Yep.
There's free help, and then there's paid help.
Yep.
There's still help.
You just get the help.
You just get the help, and you'll notice the difference. Give whoever the clinician is at least 2 weeks of doing exactly what they tell you to do. Do it for at least 2 weeks, and if you don't see a difference, throw it out the window. All right, just move on to the next clinician, but at least do something. Don't just sit back and continue to have it. And Diamond, I wanted to answer your question. There is absolutely no reason for a parent to accept disrespect. There may have been some other issues going on prior to what your sibling is dealing with, if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So it may just be a part of the condition. It's not a question of saying, yeah, you can disrespect me because you got bipolar. It's saying, because you disrespect me, we need to get you some help.
Because you're enabling them otherwise.
Right, you're enabling them otherwise.
But, yeah, so it can, there's a range, and I, in my book, Letters to the Brokenhearted, I talk about heartbreak and depression and all of that. And so even if it is as minor as, and I don't want to minimize it, but as a situational depressed issue, where I'm depressed because this situation happened and it's not a chronic thing that I have, deal with it, because if you don't deal with it and address it, it can turn into something chronic. So with that said, what a show. So much we didn't get to touch on, as always, but we're going to have these guys back again for a part 2, and I think that's it. So next week on the Live Exchange, we'll be back, and every Thursday from 11 to 1. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And
Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa. Starts the day after Christmas, December 26th. And we'll see you later.
Rude.
Bye.
Well, you'll see what happens. Sensation Station Network.